I am allowed to change my mind as I so choose to. I'm allowed to determine what success means for my life. I'm allowed to use my free will to create the life experience I desire. I'm allowed to make myself priority. I am allowed to make my life priority. I'm allowed to rest and relax whenever I want. I'm allowed to explore creative expression in my own unique way. I'm allowed to speak honestly and truthfully. I'm allowed to say no. I'm allowed to say yes. I'm allowed to say not now, maybe later. I'm allowed to be peaceful. I'm allowed to be proud of myself. I'm allowed to love myself. I'm allowed to like myself. I'm allowed to appreciate myself. I'm allowed to appreciate others. I'm allowed to compliment others. I'm allowed to follow my intuition. I'm allowed to follow my inner guidance versus external input. I'm allowed to be my authentic self. I'm allowed to switch up as I so choose. I'm allowed to stop. I'm allowed to be still. I'm allowed to do absolutely nothing. I'm allowed to pursue my dreams, visions, and goals. I'm allowed to be joyful. I'm allowed to be at ease. I'm allowed to live effortlessly. I'm allowed to be healthy, whole, and complete. I'm allowed to be selective. I'm allowed to be discerning. I'm allowed to be abundant. I'm allowed to be content. I'm allowed to be present and in the now moment. I'm allowed to enjoy my hobbies without turning them into a business. I'm allowed to just be. I'm allowed to be silent. I'm allowed to forgive. I'm allowed to be forgiven. I'm allowed to extend forgiveness. I'm allowed to be compassionate. I'm allowed to embrace myself just as I am. I'm allowed to accept everybody just as they are. I'm allowed to accept life just as it is. I'm allowed to allow others their own life experience. I'm allowed to detach from what no longer serves me. I'm allowed to have a great day. I'm allowed to have a great life. I'm allowed to healthy and fulfilling relationships. I'm allowed to have great sex. I'm allowed to participate in life-affirming activities. I'm allowed to create life-affirming experiences. I'm allowed to embrace my inner and outer beauty. I am allowed to grow. I am allowed to expand. I am allowed to evolve. I am allowed to transform. I am allowed to shift. I am allowed to change. I am allowed to laugh. I am allowed to cry. I am allowed to express my true emotions. I am allowed to explore what life has to offer. I'm allowed to explore my inner world. I'm allowed to fulfill my soul mission. I'm allowed to make mistakes. I am allowed to make a comeback time and time again. I'm allowed to start over as often as I choose. I'm allowed to walk my own path. I'm allowed to trust myself. I'm allowed to follow my heart. I'm allowed to trust the universe. I'm allowed to speak my heart and mind. I am allowed to share my talents, skills, knowledge, and abilities. I'm allowed to expand my talents, skills, knowledge, and abilities. I'm allowed to explore my supernatural powers. I am allowed to discover my extrasensory perception abilities. I am allowed to remain balanced and centered despite circumstances. I am allowed to do things that brings me pleasure. I'm allowed to know the truth about life. I'm allowed to know the truth about existence itself. I'm allowed to know the truth about creation. I am allowed to know the truth about my creative powers, gifts, and abilities. I'm allowed to have a positive outlook on life. I am allowed to change my beliefs and values accordingly. I am allowed to change life paths. I am allowed to be different. I am allowed to do it my way. I'm allowed to do it in my own timing. I am allowed to ignore whatever doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm allowed to be alone whenever I want. I'm allowed to mind my own life. I'm allowed to keep my business to myself. I'm allowed to share with whomever I want to share. I'm allowed to give as I see fit. I am allowed to receive with grace. I am allowed to ask for help. I am allowed to appreciate all that life has to offer. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.